Hi, Earl.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Everything going all right out on the West Coast this morning?
Yeah, it is. It's sort of quiet, thank God, for a few minutes.
You're getting ready to come back to Chattown.
I'm on my way to the choo-choo.
Yes, sir, for your favorite charity, or one of your favorite charities.
It's only been about 26, 27 years now.
Why do you continue to come to Bethel Bible Village each year?
If you've ever been out to Bethel, or if you've met any of the Bethel kids, you know, these kids are just normal American or human beings, human kids who've been dealt a very poor hand. Quite often, one or more parents are in prison, maybe both, and they become wards of the court. It's not their fault. They're just wonderful young human beings who they've been cast adrift, sort of, and the good folks at Bethel take them in and love them and teach and feed and house and redirect their lives in the most wonderful ways. I tell you, Bethel is like a lifeboat gathering kids that are adrift almost on the sea of life and giving them safety and giving them direction and comfort. And I just fall in love with it. I'm addicted to Bethel, as you can see.
Richard Floyd told me, he said, Pat agreed to come 1 year on a temporary basis, and that was, over 25 years ago?
Yeah, I think this is the 27th year.
Well, how's your golf game?
Oh, it's erratic. I love it. That is, I love the game. I don't love the way I play it all the time, but I hit my share of good shots, and my dream in life, my ultimate dream in life as far as golf is concerned, is to be a 10 handicap, and I'm about a 14, so I'm about 4 shots away from being probably the best I can be.
God's really been good to you this year. You've had a top 40 record again.
In fact, a top 15 record, Under God, and I'm intending to sing it Thursday night at our big auction. We're going to have this silent and live auction that we have every year, and I'm going to, of course, that's open to the public, and I intend to sing Under God, the song that's an answer to this atheist in San Francisco. And it struck a very responsive chord, even in the secular charts and on secular radio. And so I'm very pleased about that. And yes, it's been a good year that way. And you may know I was inducted into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame in early April. And that, of course, also is a blessing, really, to me, because I wasn't sure people were quite aware of the involvement I've had in gospel music for my whole career.
But your roots go way, way back to your father-in-law, Red Foley. We all remember Red.
I think you and I of our generation do, but there's a whole flock of millions and millions of others that didn't know Red because they're just too young to have been exposed to all his music. So even there, I recorded an album called I Remember Red.
I have that, yes, sir.
Do you?
I sure do.
Well, good. I just want people to, as many people as possible, to be aware of the giant in the country and gospel music fields that Red Foley was, and in recording still is, but his recordings just aren't available. It's almost impossible to find them anywhere, so I've done my best to sort of, pay a tribute to him, but also duplicate his music as best I can, and I think I've come pretty close.
You sure have. I play selections from that CD quite frequently. You know, Red had a great tune, Chattanooga Shoeshine Boy. Ever heard of that?
Oh, boy, yeah. Yeah, and you know, Bing Crosby, who up till I met Shirley Foley was my sort of my role model. After I met Shirley, Red Foley became my my role model. But both Bing and Red recorded that song, but Red's was the bigger version. It was a huge country and crossover pop hit.
What was that, about 1951, 52, somewhere in there?
About in there, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at remembering those years, but yeah, I think that's about right. How
is your family? How's Shirley doing?
She's doing good. You know, we've been sweating and praying for 2 years now through the crisis that around our grandson who fell 40 feet through a skylight of a building. And he's getting better. And Shirley, her sort of sense of well-being and attitude and all that sort of linked to Ryan. And as he gets better, she's doing better. And so that makes the whole family very happy.
And everybody wanted me to ask you how Debbie's doing because we still play her tune, You Light Up My Life.
Good. Well, I hope you'll always keep it up. She's doing beautifully. She really took a 20-year hiatus from her career to raise her family. Not many women performers do that, and it doesn't work out very well for their families. But in Debbie's case, she's continued to perform. She's done, when she could, musicals, Broadway musicals, toured with several, like Sound of Music and Meet Me in St. Louis, Sing the King and I. But mostly she's taken care of her family, her 4 kids, and now that 3 of them are virtually grown, you can believe it, and then her youngest still at home still is the tallest in the family, and in some ways, I think almost the oldest. But Debbie is going to go back in a studio and perhaps do some more recording this year, and I tell you, she sounds like she always did and looks like one of her own kids, and the youngest one at that.
How many grandchildren do you have now?
15.
15.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hot dogs on Sunday afternoon, isn't it?
Yes, it is, if we can ever get them together. It's hard because Cherry lives up in Seattle with 5, and Laurie in Colorado with 3. Lindy, of course, with her 3, including Ryan, lives not too far away, and Debbie's the closest with her 4, but 3 of those are away at college.
Yeah.
So it's real hard to get this whole big brood of ours together in one place.
Debbie did a gospel CD, Pat, and I play selections from that. You know, you can really be down and out, be depressed, and listen to that recording, and it's just such an inspiration. I have played it over and over and over again.
I tell you, I'm so proud of her because God gave her a wonderful talent. She has been determined to use that talent to glorify Him. And I think she's done it in remarkable ways. She's done, 6 or 7 wonderful gospel albums.
Mm-hmm.
And if people have trouble finding them these days, you know, the rappers and the hip-hoppers and the gangstas and all those, you know, that kind of music crowds all the good stuff out of the shelves, off the shelves and out of the stores, to the point where most people don't even want to go to stores anymore, record stores. But they could go to a website called patsgold.com.
Pat's
Gold.
Gold.
PATSGOLD. Patsgold.com.
Okay.
And we can probably supply you with Debbie's albums and my own and a lot of other terrific good music too. I started a label called the Gold Label, and Pat's Gold is the website for that. And it's really, I call it like a senior tour for singers. It's a means by which legendary artists, where you can find the really good stuff and even new albums by these legendary artists like Jack Jones, Glenn Campbell, Patti Page, the 4 Freshmen.
Pat Boone.
Well, Pat Boone, yeah, you can even find a new Pat Boone album there too.
I love that 4 Freshmen recording.
Good.
We play that quite a bit.
Aren't they good?
Mm-hmm.
The 4 Freshmen they still are. Of course, this is the second generation of them.
Yeah.
But they do all the great established older arrangements and a lot of new things as well, just the way the original 4 Freshmen would have done them. And so they are still fresh.
They sure are. What was your favorite all-time song that you recorded back in the 50s and 60s?
Well, it's hard to pick out one.
How about I'll See You in My Dreams?
Well, I love it, of course, and I still sing that quite often in personal appearances. If I do a longer show, I'd have a medley. I call it Harbor Sin Dreams. That's just to tell my musicians, Harbor Lights, It's a Sin to Tell a Lie, and I'll See You in My Dreams. And I do those songs, and if the audience is the right age, we all just sort of drift off to dreamland together.
The record companies have released a lot of your original material. I've got a couple of CDs of your original singles that were on the Dot record label.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad about that. That's a wonderful thing about recording. The artist may slip away, but if that artist has made some good recordings, they still are around, and that's one of the bases of the Gold label, to keep those records coming. Keep them available to people.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I say, most people of, let's say, past 35 just don't enjoy going into a record store anymore. It's sort of alien ground. It's where you find Marilyn Manson and P. Diddy and Eminem, and you hear all this stuff blaring out of the sound system, and the young kids working behind the counter when you say, I'd like to find a Perry Como album. What is Perry Como?
Yeah.
Is that a new young girl singer? No. Perry Como was just one of the best singers there ever was.
Don't you miss him?
Yeah. Yeah, Perry came to Bethel, by the way, a couple of times.
I know it. I got to meet him when he was here.
Yeah, Glenn Campbell and Roy Clark and Ed Ames and, some of my favorite people.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing so much to preserve our type music. You really are, Pat, and we appreciate it.
I really believe that's true. It transcends the passage of time and fads and trends in music. If it's really classic and good, it's just like a painting. It gets better and richer with age.
And of course, if anybody deserves going into the Gospel Hall of Fame, you do, because you have recorded so many good gospel albums. I wish that that recording you did, it was on vinyl, but I don't know whether it was ever put on CD or not. It was about my wife. That was one of the best recordings you ever did, Pat.
Yeah, thanks for just being you.
Yes.
And or what is a wife.
Did you ever put that on CD?
Yeah, it's on an album called Home.
Home, okay. I'll have to look for that.
And that album I did in Nashville for Lamb and Lion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still available at Pat's Gold, at least.
Okay.
And I guess you could order it from a Christian bookstore.
I'll just
look it up in the catalog. But it's called Home, and it's a whole collection of songs about relationships, about parent-child relationships, about husband-wife, and of course, individual and God relationships. A lot of it is tailored to my wife, our relationship, but I felt that in many ways, husband-wife relationships all have a whole lot in common.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that all wives would see themselves mirrored and reflected in the lyric of that song.
Yeah, it's a great recording. I'm glad to know that it's still available, and I'll go to www.patsgold.com after a while and get a copy of that.
Okay.
That is really a good recording. Well, I know you're getting ready to get on a plane and come to Chattanooga for...
I'm packing up my knickers.
Yeah? You're ready, huh?
Yeah, when I come to Bethel especially, since I'm the host, I want to be distinguishable in the crowd.
Yeah.
And so I'll wear usually some colorful knickers, and I look like a golfer even if I don't swing like one.
Now the auction, tell me a little bit about the auction. I believe that's Thursday night?
That's Thursday night. It's gotten to be a more popular thing. And I think it's at the Chattanooga Choo-Choo.
Right, 7 o'clock, uh-huh.
And it's gotten to be a more popular thing every year. All kinds of wonderful things are donated for people to steal, practically.
Mm-hmm.
And that literally does happen. I've done it myself. I mean, I've got 2 Stephen Shortridge paintings hanging on my walls that I bought at that auction, and I just outbid a couple of people, but I still got them for about half what they retail for.
How neat.
And there's all kinds of things, of sports memorabilia and paintings and all kinds of the latest technological things and homemade things, all sorts of really valuable stuff. And of course, since there's only so many people there, and they only brought so many wheelbarrows full of money, the people wind up coming home with stuff that they couldn't have bought anywhere else for as little as they can at this auction. And all the money, of course, goes to Bethel. So it's fun, and it's a terrific opportunity.
And you're going to do a tune or two for us?
Yes, I am. As I say, I'm already planning to do Under God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do that medley too. Bring back a few memories.
Well, I don't have that on CD actually, but I have to. I bring the accompaniment.
Oh, okay.
On CD.
Yeah.
But I'll have to dig up a couple good things that the people would like to hear.
A little Love Letters in the Sand.
That could be done.
April Love.
Sure.
Ain't That a Shame?
Yeah.
You worked with Billy Vaughn, didn't you?
Oh yeah, a lot. Billy wrote all my early arrangements.
He was so good, Pat. He was so good.
Yes, he had that magic, common touch. He wasn't flashy, but he had a distinctive sound, and he put stuff in all of his arrangements that made you want to hear him again. I mean, we call it the hook. He was great at coming up with arrangement hooks that made you want to hear the thing again.
You know, one of my most requested tunes by Billy Vaughn is the Orange Blossom Special.
Really?
Yes.
And that's been done by so many people.
I know it.
That if Billy stands out, that's quite an accomplishment.
And, of course, his melody of love and shifting, whispering sands with Ken Nordine, just a lot of great timeless music there.
Sure.
Well, we're going to let you go because I know you've got to get ready to come this way.
I do.
But I do thank you for joining me today on the program, and you're the greatest. You've always been one of our favorites, and
well, thanks for letting me hang in there, and I'm on my way to Chattanooga.
Okay, Pat Boone, we'll see you when you get here.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.